Picture a legendary British sports car, renowned for razor-sharp handling and featherlight engineering, suddenly morphing into a 2.6-ton electric SUV, luxurious, high-tech, and unapologetically bold. Now imagine loyal fans around the world reeling in disbelief, asking, "What happened to Lotus?" Yet beneath the shock and controversy, a far bigger question emerges. Is the new Lotus Eletre not just changing a brand, but rewriting the very rules of survival for automakers in the electric era? And can Lotus thrive, or even survive, in a market that punishes hesitation and rewards radical transformation? A few years ago, this scenario would have sounded almost heretical. For decades, Lotus was synonymous with purity, simplicity, and Colin Chapman's famous motto, "Simplify, then add lightness." The company that gave us the lithe Elise and the uncompromising Exige had built its reputation in both motoring folklore and motorsport legend. Its cars weren't just vehicles, they were experiences, engineered with an obsessive focus on connection, feel, and agility. For Lotus loyalists, even the faintest whiff of excess weight or digital intervention was borderline sacrilegious. Then, the world changed. The shift to electric mobility went from a distant whisper to a roaring demand. EVs stopped being the cars of the future. They became the cars of today, backed by relentless regulation, surging consumer awareness, and the unstoppable march of technology. Every carmaker, it seemed, had to adapt or face obsolescence. Some, like Porsche with its Cayenne, had endured the wrath of purists only to emerge stronger, their controversial SUVs funding new generations of beloved sports cars. Others, stuck in the past, either faded into irrelevance or vanished altogether. It was against this turbulent backdrop that Lotus, under the financial might and strategic vision of Geely, made its most daring move yet. The Eletre, an all-electric SUV built in China, loaded with technology, and priced squarely in the luxury bracket. A vehicle that, on the surface, seemed to betray everything Lotus once stood for. Purists scoffed. Colin Chapman would be turning in his grave. Social media bristled with memes and rants. But as we peel back the layers, things are far from simple. This is more than an SUV. It's a bold test of what a legendary brand must do to survive in a rapidly transforming industry. The Eletre didn't appear out of thin air. As early as 2006, Lotus had toyed with the idea of expanding beyond sports cars, revealing the APX concept at the Geneva Motor Show. But it wasn't until Geely's acquisition in 2017 that the plans took real shape. Now, Lotus is betting big, going head-to-head with entrenched luxury brands and cutting-edge EV startups. So why an SUV, and why electric? Globally, the electric SUV market is on fire. According to Allied Market Research, it's projected to hit $617.57 billion by 2032, with annual growth rates above 13%. Electric SUVs offer automakers the holy grail: premium margins, massive volumes, and a platform to showcase the latest tech. Tesla's early dominance saw it grab nearly 70% US EV market share just a few years back, but that figure dropped to 43.5% in Q1 2025, as BMW, Mercedes, and others upped their game. BMW's EV sales alone skyrocketed by over 26% in Q1 2025. This is now a high-stakes contest, with legacy titans and Silicon Valley upstarts fighting for the same tech-savvy buyers. The Eletre brings Lotus into this battlefront with guns blazing. It rides on a cutting-edge electric premium architecture, an 800V platform that supports ultra-rapid charging, promising convenience to anxious buyers who dread waiting at charging stations. Advanced driver aids, including a sophisticated LiDAR system, are designed to nudge the Eletre toward Level 4 autonomy, putting it in rarefied company among even the most advanced EVs. Its 2 or 3 motor configurations churn out between 603 and 905 horsepower, blasting the heavy SUV to 62 mph in just 4.5 seconds or less. But performance numbers only tell part of the story. The Eletre oozes luxury. The interior is a harmonious blend of high-tech minimalism and tactile indulgence. Leather-wrapped steering wheels that look like jewelry, a 15.1-inch infotainment screen powered by dual Qualcomm Snapdragon chipsets, and configurable ambient lighting that rivals the best from Germany and Italy. Step into the cabin and it's clear, this isn't just another EV. It's a statement piece, a rolling sculpture designed to lure luxury buyers who crave both speed and status. For all its flash and fury, The Eletre hasn't abandoned the Lotus ethos entirely. Engineers have obsessed over aerodynamics and energy management, reinterpreting lightness for the electric age. The result is an efficiency rating of 21.4 km per 100 kilometers. Impressive for something this large and powerful. As Sandy Monroe, a well-known engineering consultant, observed, the Eletre's engineering shows a clear intention to compete with established luxury EVs, but supply chain management will be critical. In today's world, speed and cost aren't just about the car, they're about the entire system that builds and delivers it. Yet not everything is rosy. The Eletre's starting price hovers around $150,000 for the S trim tested in Australia, placing it in a rarefied club with Mercedes's AMG EQE 53 and BMW's iX M60, not to mention the Lamborghini Urus, if you want even wilder numbers. For customers used to the nimble agility of a Lotus Elise at a fraction of that price, this is a seismic shift. Despite the sticker shock, Lotus is seeing momentum. Revenues for the first 9 months of 2024 soared to $653 million, a 105% jump year over year. Deliveries in 2024 hit 12,134 vehicles, up 74%, fueled by a surge in demand for both traditional performance cars and new electrified models. The Emira GT4, Lotus's last gasoline-powered racing car, sold out its initial run, evidence that die-hard fans haven't abandoned ship. The company has signaled more to come. A smaller electric SUV and a 4-door coupe are already in development, targeting a broader range of buyers by 2026. Lotus faces an incredibly complex and frankly nerve-wracking set of challenges. First is the battle for brand identity. Can the same company that built minimalist analog driver's cars also become a purveyor of high-tech luxury SUVs? Is it possible to keep the magic alive while catering to a completely different audience? Listen to Dr. Julia Poliskanova, a leading expert in EV sustainability. For EVs to truly be green, manufacturers like Lotus need to focus on sustainable battery sourcing and end-of-life management. The environmental impact of battery production, raw material supply, and recycling looms large, not just as a moral imperative, but as a business necessity. The electric revolution promises a cleaner future, but only if manufacturers can crack the code of truly sustainable production and disposal. If Lotus slips here, the reputational fallout could be devastating. The Eletre is also a testbed for Lotus's ambitions in autonomous driving. Its LiDAR system is future-proofed for Level 4 autonomy, a leap beyond today's highway-only systems. But real-world adoption of self-driving cars remains hampered by regulatory thickets, consumer suspicion, and high-profile accidents. CEO Qingfeng Feng is optimistic. We are excited to see significant progress in our intelligent driving business across the world. However, the company must tread carefully, balancing technological ambition with the sobering lessons emerging from the likes of Tesla and Cruise. Geopolitics pose another serious hurdle. Manufacturing the Eletre in Wuhan, China, grants cost efficiencies and proximity to critical EV supply chains. But it's also a geopolitical tightrope. Trade wars and diplomatic tensions can disrupt supply lines overnight. As expert Sandy Monroe cautioned, supply chain management will be critical to Lotus's success or survival. Regionalizing production, hedging risks by sourcing components from multiple continents, and even possibly building battery plants of their own may be necessary just to stay in the game. Meanwhile, competition shows no signs of easing. Tesla's shrinking market share signals that brand power alone isn't enough. Consumers now expect flawless technology, convenience, and a steady drumbeat of over-the-air updates. BMW's EV offensive is gaining ground fast, and Cadillac's Lyriq, though stumbling in Q1 2025, is still a threat. As Cox Automotive puts it, EV sales are increasing, but market share is shifting as more brands enter the EV space. Brands that fail to stand out or execute perfectly risk getting lost in the noise or, worse, being forced into the arms of a larger rival during a wave of consolidation. Perhaps the most daunting challenge is intangible, the tightrope between tradition and reinvention. Can Lotus, by chasing global sales with a radical new model, keep the loyalty of its old fans while winning over a new generation obsessed with status, sustainability, and seamless software? Or will it become just another badge, stripped of its soul, famous in name only, irrelevant in spirit? There are no easy answers. The stakes are sky high and the outcome remains in flux. But one thing is certain, the Lotus Eletre is not just a new car, it's a flashpoint in the industry's greatest transformation, forcing us to ask, what does it mean to be a car company in the electric age? and who ultimately gets to decide what a brand like Lotus should be. As we look deeper into the Eletre's development, early market reaction, and the hidden risks behind the headlines, one question lingers. Will this gamble by Lotus pay off and set a blueprint for future legacy brands, or could it mark the beginning of an irreversible identity crisis? The answer may surprise you. As the dust settles on Lotus's audacious leap into the world of luxury electric SUVs, we now turn our eyes to the uncertain road ahead. The story is no longer just about a car. It's about the fate of a legendary brand in a world where innovation is both a lifeline and a gamble. Let's unravel the likely scenarios, the looming risks, and the subtle ripple effects of Lotus's transformation. And crucially, what this seismic shift means for you, the car enthusiast, the industry watcher, or simply someone witnessing the reinvention of an icon. First, let's imagine the best-case scenario. The Eletre, despite its controversial form, becomes a sales juggernaut. The world's luxury EV buyers, seduced by its unique styling, rapid charging, and the rare blend of performance and high-tech comfort, flock to Lotus showrooms from Shanghai to London. As Lotus CEO Qingfeng Feng put it recently, we are excited to see significant progress in our intelligent driving business across the world. Under Geely's stewardship, revenues soar, with the Eletre funding even more ambitious electric models. Think nimble coupes and GT cars, Lotus DNA, electrified and ready for the next era. A Porsche Cayenne-style fairy tale, in other words. Hated at first, worshipped later, and crucially, a lifeline that allows Lotus to continue making sports cars for the faithful. Imagine the Emira GT4, already sold out in its initial run, spawning a new generation of track-honed EVs, refined using the fat profits from their electric SUVs. The electric Eletre becomes a pillar, not a tombstone, for the Lotus legend. In this world, we'd see the Lotus badge gracing a diverse lineup by 2026. A smaller electric SUV, a svelte four-door coupe, maybe even a spiritual elan for the digital age. But what if the story takes a darker turn? The Eletre, burdened by its high price and manufactured far from British soil, faces resistance, not just from purists, but from practical buyers. After all, the luxury EV market is flooding with options. Tesla, BMW, and Mercedes aren't sitting idle. Tesla's US market share, once unassailable, is already showing cracks, dropping to 43.5% in early 2025 as new contenders surge. BMW's own EVs have seen explosive growth, up 26% year-on-year, while Cadillac's Lyriq stumbles amidst the chaos. The Eletre, for all its flash and power, could get lost in the noise, a niche player, too expensive for some, not prestigious enough for others. In this scenario, Lotus may face the existential crisis it hoped to avoid. Too far removed from its heritage for old fans, yet not differentiated enough to win over the new audience. If profits falter, Geely could tighten the reins, pivot the brand toward the mainstream, or even sell Lotus off to another conglomerate. The risk here isn't just financial, it's cultural, the slow erasure of what made Lotus, well, Lotus. But the world rarely delivers such binary outcomes. The likely future is a kaleidoscope of successes and stumbles, with Lotus adapting in real time to a market that won't wait for sentiment. The Eletre's 800V fast-charging tech solves real-world problems for urban buyers, and the promise of over-the-air software updates shows Lotus is thinking beyond just hardware. Imagine a future where your Eletre quietly upgrades itself overnight, adding smarter driver assistance, new entertainment options, or even performance tweaks. In this software-defined age, the cars that adapt the fastest may win the loyalty lottery. Yet lurking beneath glitzy tech and sales figures are less glamorous but crucial challenges: supply chain resilience and geopolitics. Manufacturing in China allows cost advantages, but it also exposes Lotus to trade wars, sanctions, and sudden shifts in global alliances. As Sandy Munro, automotive engineering consultant, warns, the Eletre's engineering shows a clear intention to compete with established luxury EVs, but supply chain management will be critical. To counteract this, Lotus may need to rethink its sourcing strategies, perhaps investing in its own battery gigafactories, or signing exclusive deals with critical raw material suppliers. Vertical integration could become the name of the game. It's a race where missing a single piece, like lithium or semiconductors, could sideline the whole operation. Agility, not just elegance, will decide Lotus's long-term fate. And there's another, quieter revolution unfolding. As EVs become less about motors and more about software, Lotus must master digital experiences to keep up. Over-the-air updates aren't just geeky add-ons. They're part of a broader shift to what industry insiders call the software-defined vehicle. This means the Eletre you buy today could be smarter, safer, and even quicker a year from now, if Lotus's software teams stay ahead of the curve. But with digital innovation comes new vulnerabilities, cyber attacks, data privacy battles, and the ever-looming threat of being leapfrogged by nimbler startups. So where does this leave the Lotus faithful, the fans whose veins still run with Castrol R and whose dreams are painted in British racing green? The reaction is, predictably, mixed. Forums are ablaze with debate. Some, after driving the Eletre S, confess that it's a revelation, a luxury SUV that feels unlike anything from Germany or California. As one reviewer put it, to instantly write off the Eletre simply because it's not a lightweight sports car worthy of the Lotus badge would be to ignore one of the very finest luxury SUVs on sale. Others can't help but feel uneasy. For them, the Eletre is a betrayal, a heavy, opulent machine where once Lotus pioneers stripped out every ounce for speed. But history offers perspective. Remember the Porsche Cayenne? The howls of 911 purists filled the air in 2002, yet 2 decades later, the Cayenne not only saved Porsche, it allowed the brand to keep making sports cars better than ever. Will Lotus's gamble play out the same way? Only time will tell. And then there are the unintended consequences. The Eletre's focus on sustainability is more than a marketing line. Lotus has pledged full carbon neutrality by 2038, a goal that will push the brand to reimagine everything from battery sourcing to end-of-life recycling. As Dr. Julia Poliskanova of Transport and Environment notes, for EVs to truly be green, manufacturers like Lotus need to focus on sustainable battery sourcing and end-of-life management. Will the brand's environmental leadership give it a lasting edge, or will the race to electrify simply become a sea of sameness where only the loudest survive? Let's zoom out for a moment. What does this all mean for you, watching from the sidelines? If you're a car enthusiast, Lotus's story is a case study in survival and reinvention. It's a reminder that even the most cherished brands must adapt or risk extinction. The Eletre, for all its baggage, is proof that innovation often comes from unlikely places, and that disruption doesn't always look the way you expect. If you love cars, there's a lesson here. Keep an open mind. The future of driving will blend heritage and technology in ways we're only starting to imagine. For the EV-curious buyer, Lotus's transformation signals a new age of choice. Electric SUVs are no longer the exclusive domain of Tesla or the German giants. The Eletre's rapid charging, premium feel, and performance punch mean you don't have to compromise between style and sustainability. As Allied Market Research puts it, increasing consumer awareness and preference for eco-friendly vehicles are driving the growth of the electric SUV market. The world is tilting fast in favor of electrification, and Lotus's move could spur even more innovation across the sector. If you're interested in the business side, watch closely. Lotus's experiment with the Eletre is a microcosm of the entire auto industry's existential pivot, juggling legacy with relevance, profit with purpose. The company's 105% revenue jump in 2024 and a 74% sales increase year-on-year prove that, for now, risk can pay off. But hyper-competition looms, and only brands who stay agile, investing in both digital mastery and supply chain resilience, will thrive. You might see alliances across former rivals, or a wave of new entrants disrupting the old guard. And for the purists, consider this. Change isn't the same as erasure. Yes, the Eletre is a world apart from the Elan or Elise, but it's also the engine driving Lotus's survival. Without it, the dream of hand-built, agile sports cars might have faded altogether. Sometimes preserving a legacy means allowing it to evolve, in ways that even the founders might have found shocking. So, does Lotus's all-in bet on the Eletre pay off? Is this a reinvention worthy of the badge, or the start of an irreversible identity crisis? The answer for now is both, and neither. The Eletre is not the end of Lotus, nor a betrayal of its past. It's a bold, occasionally awkward first step into uncharted territory. The world is watching to see if Lotus can repeat the Cayenne miracle, using a controversial SUV to bankroll the pure sports cars fans crave. The early signs are promising, with sales rising and the brand's footprint expanding globally. But the challenges, fierce competition, supply chain turmoil, the high bar of digital innovation, are daunting. In the end, the real test will be how Lotus balances its DNA with its destiny. Will the Eletre's profits give birth to a new generation of lightweight, joyous electric sports cars? Will software and sustainability become as central to Lotus's story as lap times and throttle response? Or will the badge become just another logo in a sea of luxury crossovers? One thing's for sure, the future of Lotus will be decided not just in boardrooms or on factory floors, but by every driver willing to take a chance on something new. It's a dramatic, high-voltage gamble, and the outcome is still unwritten. And before we close, here's a secret many don't know. The Eletre wasn't Lotus's first SUV concept. Way back in 2006, Lotus showed the APX, a prototype that hinted at this electric, spacious future long before most brands dared to dream it. Sometimes the wildest ideas just need the right moment and a leap of faith to become real. So, what do you think? Is the Lotus Eletre a bold reinvention or a bridge too far? Have you driven one yet, or are you still on the fence? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Your voice is part of this new chapter. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit the like button, subscribe for more insider stories, and share this video with every car lover you know. The future of driving is being written every day, and you're along for the ride. Until next time, keep your mind